All right, our next inductees, a couple of football players, Al Namanny and Tony Plummer. Tony came to the CSM campus from Sequoia High School and played in the 1965 and 1966 season. Al was out of El Camino High School. He played 1966. Jefferson, I'm sorry. How could I? God, what a faux pas. And Al was from Jefferson and played 1966 and 1967. So, gentlemen, if you'd like to sit on the stools, we'll take our little session over there. The hot seat. I remember Tony very well. When I was in high school as a junior, I took a class at Sequoia, so I was over on that campus for 2 periods of the day and got to know some of the students there at Sequoia, and was on the basketball team at MA, and Tony was on the basketball team at Sequoia, and he doesn't remember me because I didn't get in the game necessarily, but I remember watching him, and he was a good athlete, football, track, and basketball. I saw both of these gentlemen play at CSM when I was a student in 66 to 68. And so I'm going to step between you and see how this works. Since they were teammates here at CSM and at UOP, we have them on the stage together. And we're going to ask them some questions where they can bounce back and forth a little bit. Al, in 1966, you were a freshman at CSM on a team that had a lot of talent in a league that had a number of good teams. What do you remember about the transition that you had to make from high school play to college?
Well, being from Jefferson and Daly City, I think you know that we come from a foggy area, and coming down to San Mateo was actually kind of a shock with the difference in temperature. So I thank San Mateo for hiring me for that summer to work as kind of a grounds person, a janitor, whatever they needed done. I had a summer job, and because I kind of got used to the heat a little bit there, I think it helped me out a lot. So that summer job was really a good thing. But what was also nice about that summer job is I did get to talk with a lot of returning players that were a year ahead of me, which Tony was one of them, and they kind of would tell me about the way the practices went and things going on, and so that kind of put me in a better mental frame of what I was actually getting myself into, of coming to a really big step up in football from a high school to college, where the players are all better, bigger, stronger. And I can tell you one thing about the hitting is, looking at this gentleman right over here, that, boy, you can get hit pretty hard with some of the better players. And I know that I look forward to scrimmaging because it puts offense against defense, gives us a chance to show ourselves. But I'll tell you, the times that I was able to break through the defensive line, I came to realize that maybe that wasn't all a good thing, because that guy over there was waiting to hit me coming into his territory. So anyway, it was a good transition, and basically it was the heat. And one of the things I tell you I didn't like was that hill that they had down over there. End of practice conditioning, that hill was tough.
And we still have that hill. And I'm going to ask Deb, I'm going to ask Tony one question, and then we're going to have Coach Dickey stand up and say something about these gentlemen. Tony, I saw you play football in high school and at CSM, and you had a tremendous motor. You were a high energy guy, and you had a never quit attitude. What motivated you?
I didn't want to lose. I really did, and I was scared. I was smaller than everyone else. I had to get bigger than everyone else. I didn't talk much. I let my helmet do my talking. In high school, I was 147 pounds, soaking wet as a senior. I remember playing Bellarmine High School and the fullback running me over. The head coach comes out and looks at me. "Are you okay, Tony?" "No, sir." That was the last time in my life I was ever embarrassed on a football field. I wanted to be the best, and I did everything that it took to do just that.
And then after playing at CSM, Tony, as I mentioned, went to UOP and then was he's a 5-year veteran of the NFL. So his motor and his motivation really did carry him far. Coach Bill Dickey over here has got a comment to make about you gentlemen. Bill was on the coaching staff at the time.
Well, I tell you what, when Tony arrived here on the CSM campus, Stu Carter got the biggest smile on his face that you can imagine. He said, "Wow, I finally have a DB that I can coach." And I tell you, Tony was one of these kids that was here. He took coaching wonderfully. He was mentored by Stu in an awesome way. He was our punt returner. He just did one fantastic job. And congratulations, Tony. I tell you, it's been a long time, and we're happy to have you here, and thank you for coming all the way from Florida to be here and be a part of this. Al, I remember you working here at the CSM, and first practice, he had a bunch of red hair, a big barrel chest, and he was a man. I tell you what, when he lined up and got behind the offensive line and his number was called, there was a motor churning about 300 miles an hour and 9,000 RPMs. He was ready to go, and he hit it. And I tell you what, because of that, and game after game, he did the same kinds of things. And at the end of his career here at CSM, he won the Murius McFadden Award, which was the outstanding football player in the Golden Gate Conference. And I tell you, that's quite a feat when you have guys like O.J. Simpson that played here and other people. One thing that the three of us all have in common is Doug Scoville, who was inducted into the Hall of Fame last year. He was all our coaches. He was my coach here at CSM back in the early days when we were on County Point campus. So we have that in common, and it was a pleasure to play under him. And talking to these two young men earlier, they kind of felt the same way about their experience with Coach Scoville. Thank you, and congratulations to both of you.
Thanks, Bill. Al, is there a particular play or game or incident that stands out in your mind over your 2 years here at CSM?
Well, there is a couple, and both of them against Chabot College, actually. But in 1966, well, it was actually in practice 2 weeks before that game that we were running a drill. And I don't know if they run that drill anymore, but that's where you had an offensive player and a defensive player. You were both laying on the ground. One player had the ball at his head. Coach would yell, "Go." You'd both jump up. One guy would pick up the ball and either run over you or try and make a move on you. I was a defensive guy, and he did a quick cut on me, so I threw up my arm to hit him as hard as I could and broke my hand. So luckily, we had a very good training staff that fixed a splint for me and taped it all up so I can continue playing during that season. But I remember the last game of the year against Chabot, this number was a great play all year long, 33X. It was me doing into the 3-hole with a guard and center cross blocking, and was a super play. We took off on that play. It opened up. I'm looking down the field, and all I could see was goalpost. Nobody around, and I'm thinking, this is a touchdown all the way. Whistle blows. Illegal procedure. We had to run the play over. Get back in the huddle. They called the same play, and I'm just so excited that I'm thinking the same thing's going to happen. But lo and behold, I was hidden coming into that 3-hole, and we collided. I did a spin, got away from him. But as I was coming out of that twist, I'm covering the ball up. Linebacker comes in, puts his helmet right on my broken hand. So needless to say, that was kind of seared in my memory, and so we'll kind of call that, except for actually one play. Next season, last game of the season, we're battling Chabot for first place, or not, we weren't for first place, but they were for first place if they beat us. And we were looking for a very good game. The coaches were psyching us up all week long. They told us, we got this game plan. We're going to leave on the bus dressed for the game, but we're going to leave late. We're going to make them sit and wait for us. And hopefully that'll kind of, get them off edge or whatever. So we go to that game, and was a battle. We were actually winning for most of the game. But I remember one play again, and it was a play they put in for that game for me. And I broke through the line, got into the secondary. Again, I'm looking at one guy to beat, and I put a move on him, and I thought I had him beat. All of a sudden, my feet get knocked out from under me. It was Marty Creed, the halfback on our team, was trying to throw a block to get that guy that was going to tackle me, and he knocked me off my feet. So,
Did he get credit for a tackle? Hey, that going late to a game at Chabot was risky in those days because it was still a drawbridge, and you could get caught with a ship going through there, and you might have to wait 20 minutes or a half hour, something like that. Tony, a game, a play stand out in your mind?
In junior college, there were a lot of games that stood out in my mind, but I'm gonna tell a negative story, and I generally don't do that. We were playing a team from Southern California. I won't mention the name of the team, junior college team. They were up on us by 21 points in the first half. We had 0. Our head coach, and I'm not going to name who that was, walked into the locker room and he said, "Well, guys, they can score." I didn't laugh. The next half, I scored 2 touchdowns and intercepted a pass. I didn't laugh. We didn't win the game, but I didn't laugh. Ladies and gentlemen, life is too serious. I know it's not always a joke. But to me, from my background and from where I came from, winning was very important to me. I've been so blessed. I played with and against a 2-time NBA world champion who lived across the street from me. I played with a Heisman Trophy winner. I've been so blessed. And people always say, "Tony, we're surprised you made it." How could I not make it? How could I not make it with those examples in front of me? Ladies and gentlemen, look at the winners. You can pick them out. No one has to tell you. You know who they are. They don't walk around. They don't boast. They don't have to. Their actions speak for them. Thank God that you can be around those types of people. Thank you for having me.
Tony, it's been a pleasure for me to see you again after so many years, and I thank you for coming all the way from Florida. And it's so wonderful to see Al again. He was a big guy on campus. He was easy to see, and I just love the fact that they're able to get together and talk a little bit again, reunite, and both be awarded their Bulldog and membership in the College of San Mateo Athletic Hall of Fame. Congratulations.